pressed together and unable to maneuver. Couldn't form proper defensive formations. Michael's axe rose and fell like a metronome of death, each swing dropping another enemy. What followed was not combat. It was catastrophe. Ottoman soldiers pushed from behind and attacked from the front had nowhere to go but into the marsh. The lucky ones died quickly from Wallachian blades. The unlucky ones, weighed down by armor and equipment, drowned slowly in 3 feet of muddy water, their screams muffled as marsh water filled their lungs while the weight of steel pulled them under. The bridge became so clogged with bodies that living soldiers were forced to climb over their dead comrades, only to be cut down in turn. Then came the sound that haunted survivors for decades, the great crack of breaking timber. The bridge, weakened by hours of combat and the weight of thousands of men, began to collapse. Ottoman soldiers still crossing plunged into the marsh. Their screams added to the cacophony of battle. The only escape route was gone. On the southern flank, Hassan Pasha's 8,000 cavalry had found a ford 2 miles downstream. As they reformed after crossing the river, expecting to face panicked infantry, they instead met a wall of veteran fighters emerging from the trees. Albert Kirli's 3,000 Sekli warriors. The collision was titanic. Ottoman sabers met Sekli axes in a melee that contemporaries described as hell-made manifest. But the Ottoman cavalry, magnificent in open field battles, found themselves at a fatal disadvantage in the broken ground near the forest. Horses stumbled on roots and fallen logs. The tight spaces between trees negated their mobility advantage. Worse, the Sekli fought with coordinated fury that spoke of careful planning, not desperate defense. Hassan himself, wounded by a Seke axe, barely escaped with a handful of bodyguards. This single moment would haunt Sinan forever. The Grand Vizier, moving forward to rally his troops, found his horse stumbling in the marsh. The animal, maddened by the smell of blood and the chaos of battle, threw the second most powerful man in the Ottoman Empire into 3 feet of muddy water. Sinan Pasha, weighed down by ceremonial armor, began to drown. What happened next remains one of history's great moral crossroads. A nameless slave, history records neither his name nor origin, saw his master struggling in the marsh. Here was freedom handed by fate itself. The man who had owned him was drowning. No one would know if he simply walked away. Instead, this forgotten hero plunged into the water and dragged Sinan to safety. His decision saved the Ottoman command structure from complete decapitation and probably prevented an even greater Christian victory. But the strangest twist was yet to come. As Michael's charge smashed into the Ottoman center, the unthinkable happened. The Sultan's sacred banner, the holy standard that had led Islamic armies for generations, wavered and fell. A Wallachian soldier named Stanku, whose name deserves remembrance, cut down the standard bearer and seized the banner. For Ottoman troops, this wasn't just a military reverse, it was cosmic catastrophe. Allah's banner in Christian hands. The psychological blow shattered what remained of Ottoman morale. Ottoman resistance didn't just break, it evaporated. The retreat became a rout. Then a massacre. Ottoman soldiers threw away weapons, armor, anything that might slow them down. They trampled their own wounded in desperation to escape. The marsh claimed hundreds more as exhausted men and heavy equipment tried to flee through the treacherous ground, where armor that had protected them in battle now dragged them to their deaths. Wallachian cavalry pursued relentlessly, cutting down fugitives without mercy. Michael faced a crucial decision. His men were scattered across miles of battlefield, exhausted from 6 hours of intense combat. The Ottoman camp, rich with plunder, lay almost defenseless. But somewhere in that chaos, 60,000 fresh Ottoman troops remained uncommitted. Pushed too far, and victory could become disaster. Reform the lines. Michael's order rang out. Let them run. It was the decision that marked him as a great commander, rather than merely a brave one. The pursuit was called off. Wallachian forces began the grim work of consolidating their victory. The Battle of Calugareni was over. The Ottoman age of invincibility had drowned in Romanian mud. As the last Ottoman fugitive splashed desperately through the blood-stained waters, Michael surveyed a victory that defied all military logic. The bridge that had promised Ottoman glory had become a monument to their humiliation, clogged with so many bodies that the Nyazlav River had actually changed course, seeking new channels through the marsh. The immediate casualties told the story. Conservative estimates placed Ottoman losses at 10,000 to 15,000 dead and drowned. Some chronicles claim the number reached 20,000. The elite Janissary Corps had been gutted. Hassan Pasha's cavalry, the finest horsemen in the empire, had lost a third of their strength. Wallachian losses, perhaps 1,000 dead. 2,000 wounded, a 10-to-1 casualty ratio that belonged in mythology. Not military history, but numbers alone couldn't capture the battle's true impact. The Ottoman Empire's aura of invincibility, carefully cultivated over 2 centuries of conquest, had been shattered in 6 hours. Janissaries who had stormed the walls of Constantinople itself had fled from Romanian defenders. The Sultan's sacred banner was gone, carried off as a trophy. Sinan Pasha, the terror of 3 continents, had nearly drowned in 3 feet of muddy water, saved only by a slave's mercy. Within months, Ottoman reinforcements would force Michael to withdraw. Within years, the hero of Calugareni would die assassinated. His dream of a united Romanian state unfulfilled, yet the 6 hours of August 23, Itian Ubai Joshawu, had changed something fundamental in the relationship between empire and conquered peoples. Modern military academies study Calugareni as a textbook example of terrain exploitation. Michael's use of the marsh bridge combination created what tacticians call a force multiplier, making each defender worth 6 or 7 attackers. His artillery placement shows mathematical precision that wouldn't be out of place in a 20th century defensive position. The controlled withdrawal after victory demonstrates strategic wisdom rarely seen in medieval commanders drunk on battlefield success. For Romanian national identity, Călugăreni became sacred ground. The monastery Michael built in gratitude still stands, its bells cast from captured Ottoman bronze still ringing across the countryside. The battle proves that military dominance exists only within specific contexts. Change the context. Force the enemy to fight where their advantages become liabilities. And David can indeed defeat Goliath. The Ottomans brought the wrong army to the wrong place, pushed forward by institutional arrogance that confused reputation with reality. 15,000 men stood against 100,000, defending not just a bridge or a principality, but proving that the human spirit, properly led and positioned, can overcome any odds. Subscribe to Great History for more battles where terrain exploitation and tactical genius defeated overwhelming numbers.